Good morning.
Good morning, Real Life Church.
I'm Wendy. I'm so glad you're here today for our live stream. It's a big day. We're wearing orange.
We're wearing orange. Randy behind the camera back there, he's a big Clemson fan. He said we look great in his
This is not
school
Clemson
colors.
orange, Randy, but it's World Vision
It's the
orange.
next best thing. It's the next
It's almost
best thing.
Clemson orange, he said.
I'm Nick, if you don't know me, and we are really glad you're here on our live stream today. It's an exciting day. We've got a lot going on, but we want to always remind you that if you're joining us, we want to know who you are and where you are. So make sure you interact with us in that chat. That's the most important thing. So if you have questions, prayer requests, send those over to us so we can interact and get to know what's going on.
If you're on vacation, we like to hear where you are. We dream through you on the live stream if you're on vacation. If you have needs during the week, you can always send an email to questions@discoverreallife.net. I've said it a million times, and I'll keep saying it, discoverreallife.net. The Connect card's there. Let us know what you need. We'd love to hear from you.
That's right. Vacation pictures are cool, so send those over. Send them to us on our Facebook. If you're not on our Facebook, you really need to be on there this week because we're going to be talking about why soon.
Yes.
But join our community group,
Yes.
Real Life Church community group.
Real Life Church community.
Yeah, follow Real Life Church on Facebook because we're going to be sending tons of updates this week because Pastor Mike and I, in a couple hours, are going to be on a plane to Zambia.
In mere hours after the service, they're going to Zambia today, and it's all for World Vision. Today is our launch Sunday with World Vision, and the program that they have is called Chosen. We have a special speaker.
You'll see this guy here, Peter. I feel super privileged because he brought me a book today, and he's a pretty big deal.
That. He is. He's Instagram famous, apparently. And
He
I
has a
didn't know
blue check mark or something by his Instagram, so
He's
I hear that's a
verified,
big deal.
I think.
So he's going to be the speaker today, so you definitely want to get your Kleenex.
Yeah, it's really good.
And just listen to what he's got to say. So powerful, shares his story. I've been really excited for him to share it and all of our church to hear it for weeks.
And his story goes along right with helping us to do sponsorship. So that's what this is all we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's really child sponsorship. We're partnering with the country of Zambia, and the children this week with Nick and Pastor Mike are going to choose us. So the live stream's coming. I hear the music starting up. We're so glad you're here today. Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah. Make sure you scan the QR code if you're interested to partner.
Look on our story. There's a link there, too.
Yep.
Instagram, Facebook.
Don't miss the service. Going to be fun. We'll see you in there.
Good morning, church family. Let's stand this morning. Let's worship together.
Change me, darkness held me down, but Jesus
continue to worship today. And you unravel me with a melody, Jesus. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears, oh, they're gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. Sing it. Oh, I am a child of God, and I'm no longer a slave to fear, no. Oh, I am a child of God. Let's lift it up together. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Oh, your love has called my name. I've been born again to your family. Oh, Jesus, your blood flows through my veins. Come on, every voice today, come on. I'm no longer a slave to fear, no matter what you're going through. Oh, I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, Jesus, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. Thank you, Lord, that I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. We worship you, Jesus. We lift up your name, and I am surrounded by the arms of the Father, and I am surrounded by songs of deliverance. We've been liberated, yes we have, from our bondage. Yeah, we're the sons and the daughters, so let us sing. So let us sing our freedom.
family, y'all can be seated. Thank you so much for coming to worship with us today. We're so glad that you're here and hope you have a great experience with God today. For those of you who are new to our church family, if you'd be so kind enough to utilize the Connect card in the seat back in front of you, give some information there, drop it in either offering box at either exit door. We would certainly appreciate that. If you would rather just connect with us there with the QR code, you can connect with us with a text. Regardless, however, just let us know that you're here, who you are, and how we can serve and minister to you. We're really glad that you're here. Now, let me just tell you right up front, today's service is going to be really different because I'm going to tell you something. God done showed up. He's been waiting for you to get here for this service, right? He showed up big in the first service. Our expectation, he's going to do the same. And so we're really excited. What makes today so very different, many of you know because we've been preparing for it, World Vision is with us, and we're partnering with them to sponsor children in Zambia, Africa. And you're going to hear a lot more about that in just a few moments. But we're really excited to have the World Vision team with us. Shannon Harris is coordinated over here with us. KJ's out in the lobby. She's preparing all that. We've got a lot of people wearing orange shirts today who are our volunteers. We can't do this without them, and so we appreciate all of those folks. But my real pleasure is to get to introduce to you Mr. Peter Mutubazi. Now, the first time I heard that name, I was like, I ain't going to be able to say that in a month. You know my Southern English, how that works. And so he really blessed me today because when he showed up to church, he gave me a copy of his book. I said, man, that's great. I'll just walk up there and read it. Brother, thank you. But this man has a wonderful story. And what was really funny, too, is he was walking up. My wife was standing there with me as Peter's walking in, and my wife sees him walking up. She's like, I know him. I said, how you know him? I follow him on Facebook. I follow him on. I went, really? She's like, I know all his story. So he's going to tell his story. And ladies and gentlemen, what a story you are about to hear. So without any further ado, Peter, come up here, brother. You blessed us one more. I'm going to get to do this 3 times with you, brother. So I'm going to get blessed triple. So come and share with us what God's given you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, my name is Pete Mutabazi, so I don't have the same accent as he has. You know, I have a different accent. Well, I speak 7 languages, and English is my 4th language, so that means I have to think in the other languages to find the appropriate words to say. So today I might be rude, I might say something that is not right, but here's what you can do. If I say something rude, you throw your iPhone 13, 14 at me, and Pastor Mike and Nick are leaving for Africa after the service. I promise they will give them to the kids and families in Africa. Deal? Absolutely. Well, my name is Peter Mutabazi, and I'm originally from Uganda. My dad is from Rwanda, and my mom is from Uganda, but born and raised in Uganda. And guess where my home is? Charlotte, North Carolina. So this is home for me. And I was telling the pastor, I said, it's harder to speak to you than I speak to other people because this is family. This is home, you know? Sometimes it's easy to speak to strangers, but your own people, it can be a little challenging. So I've been nervous for a couple weeks. So hopefully I can overcome that. But I was amazed by your pastor, both Nick and Mike. When I met them for lunch, they took me. There's one thing that he did that I found really compelling, you know? I don't know if he's told you, but he said, if I could leave my church and people remember me for saving a life of someone else, is the greatest gift I could ever do. You know, to most people, when they leave, they go get the best retirement they can do. But for him to be going to Africa tonight to see kids, it really means so much to me as an African, but to you that you have an amazing pastor that truly cares for not just you, but for people all over the world. When I came to the United States, I really struggled understanding God's love, and here's why. I flew in from Uganda to Los Angeles. I was given food. I ate everything that they put on the plate. But everyone else ate a little and threw the food away. And I sat there thinking, are they really going to throw that food away? And they did. And as I went back to my place where I was sleeping, I really struggled understanding God's love. That God, you could give people food to throw away, but you could give others nothing and to lose their lives for not beans and potatoes, just beans. I've lost members of my family for lack of beans. Here's why. When you get malaria and you haven't eaten for days, you have 24 hours to survive. And I struggled understanding how could you provide so much for others and others for little? And here's what helped me, if I can find my Bible on this technology thing. Here's what challenged me. When I went back, my friend said, read Psalm 139. And I went and read it. And I was amazed at David's attitude towards God. You know, we know David had 300 wives. I'm a single man, so I don't know how you can have 300 wives. He had cattle in every shape, form you could imagine. He had everything you could ever dream to have. But in Psalm 139, he doesn't say one thing about those things. He says, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I arise. You perceive my thoughts afar. You discern my going out and my laying down. That I know every kid in Zambia today who went to bed, who walked to get water, that he knows them so well. Before a word was in my tongue, Lord, you know it completely. You held me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too love for me to attain. That I cannot understand. You love me that much, that you know the details of walking, sitting. The kids in the United States sit and walk just like any kid in Africa does. And I love how David helped me understand that. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depth, you are there. If I rise on the wings of dawn, if I settle on the far east of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will behold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become light me, even the darkness will not dark to you. The night will shine like the day. The darkness is as light. And I love what he says in 14. He says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that fully well. Here's my question for you. Do you know that fully well? That when you went to bed tonight, when you woke up, that he knows you that well, that he was made you so wonderfully made. And that really helped me to go back and say, God loves me not despite of having no food or having too much. He loves me because he made me. That's all. And that helped me to walk forward. But also, I felt guilt. You know, I traveled, or I have been the only child in my village that has gone this far. So coming to the United States, eating that food, I also knew, God, you've given me so much. I better know what I'm here for. So Luke 12:48 challenged me. Here's what it says. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. Amen. Much more will be asked. So I knew I'd been given much as you get to know my story. And today's my story is about the children of Zambia. For me, God has already rescued me. But today, I want to share about the kids Pastor Nick and Pastor Mike are meeting tomorrow. About their lives, but really mirroring their life to mine. When I read this verse, I really wanted to do something. So I went to the foster care system. I said, I want my life to matter. So I wanted to mentor teenagers. So I walked in and I said, I would like to mentor teenagers. At least, you know, they can give me one day or an hour to do so. The social worker who received me said, hey, have you ever thought of being a foster dad? I said, absolutely, but I don't qualify. She said, why? I said, I'm single. Oh, that wasn't the only reason. But I had traveled over the world. I had never seen a black person who was adopting in my country or in Ethiopia or in China. So I thought, you have to be white, you have to be married, and that's it. So I counted myself out because I had never seen anyone who looked like me who was doing the same. So as soon as he said I can, I said, absolutely. So I became a foster dad. And since then, I've had 34 children. Now I have 7 kids. And it's truly been a joy. And I would like to share with you a few pictures of my family because I wanted my life to matter. I wanted to account for something. So they are my kids. Those are 2, 6, 7, 17 and 18. And we have 2 dogs. As you can tell, all my kids are Caucasian, so I decided to have 2 dogs, and they are called Simba and Rafiki, you know? Something African that is my home we can have, you know? Again, we love them. Next picture. This is my picture, as you can see. You know, she came to us when she was 6, now she's 22 months, so wonderful. You can see a little one screaming in the back. That is everyday life. That's the best picture that really describes my family. But also, they are here today, but also I have 2 more siblings that I've had for 2 weeks. And I just got a phone call last night that they have a sister who they would like to come in the system. And I'm like, God, I can't take them all. I am maxed out. But by the grace of God, He'll give me the grace to be there for these kids. Next picture. Here's my 17-year-old. In foster care, they have what they call respite. Respite, they give you a weekend away, or they bring a kid so someone can go for a weekend. So this young man came at 11. He was left at the hospital. They said, Peter, can you take this kid for just the weekend? I said, no. Why? Because I had 2, and they had left on Monday. So I needed a break. So I told the social worker, I need at least 3 months to recover and recoup. On Friday, she calls me. She said, can you help? A kid is at the hospital, needs a place. I said, sure, just the weekend. He comes in at 3 in the morning, and as soon as they left, I said, you can call me Mr. Peter Habyarimana or Mr. Mutabazi. And he looked at me and said, can I call you my dad? Well, that's not what I said. I said, hell no. Sorry, pass. And the kid looked at me and said, why did you just, I'm sorry. No. And then he looks back to me and he said, hey, I was told since I'm 11 years old, I can choose who my father should be. I said, dude, you're leaving on Monday. No. And I said no. So finally they came to pick him up. And this time I had the guts to ask why. He came in the foster care at 1.5. He was adopted at 4. The family that adopted him had dropped him in the hospital, never said goodbye or ever gave him the reason why they didn't want him anymore. So when he said dad, I looked at the social worker. I said, I think he knows I'm his dad anyway, right now. So he's now my adopted son, Anthony Mutabazi. Next picture. This guy knows, has a sense of humor. I've always taken boys, but this time I got a phone call that there was a 5-year-old needed at home. So I said, sure. And then she followed. And by the way, he has a sister. I was like, oh, no. And so she came in. I can tell you, I used to be the boss of the house. But since then, I'm no longer the boss of the house. She paints my nails, sometimes twice a day. She works on my hair. I have no hair, but in her head, I have blonde curly hair. What did she say? Dad, sit down. I'm going to work on your hair. And she's taught me how to love, how to be kind, and how to be gentle. And she's helped me understand my mom and my sister. Next picture. There's my 17-year-old. He's now 19, the one in glasses on the side. He came to me again, 4 weeks in my home. He says, Dad, I want to talk to you, and it's really serious. When a teenager tells you it's really serious, you kind of think, pregnancy, that's one, killed somebody, and the list goes on. But he said, look, I've been in 12 homes, and each one of them promised to adopt me. But they adopted my little ones, and no one ever wanted me. Would you consider being my dad? I said, absolutely. I would like to be. So he's my 19-year-old man. Next picture. This picture is about my home. So I want to share with you about Zambia. Most people in Zambia don't have grocery stores like you do. That's how they get food. And the 2 little boys or 2 little girls are from my village. So that's what I looked like if you had come to my village when I was little. So you might be sitting there wondering, how do you do it? As a single dad, how do you adopt one in the process of adopting the other 3? How do you do it? And here's where my honesty is going to come in. I'm going to share how I got here and how you're about to do something for someone who did that for me. The kindness of one stranger changed my entire life for me to be here. And that is what they're looking forward to today in Zambia. The little boys and little girls who've been trying to dream every day, but had never had an opportunity to do so. So 300 of them, today I'm here to share with you why. I grew up in a home where life was miserable in every shape form you could imagine. Grew up in a home where no one told me to dream or to be hopeful. Grew up in a home where I had no chance of survival. I did not have a name until when I was 2 years old. Why? For every 100 children were born in my village, 60 would die before the age of 2. So most moms didn't name their kids until they were 2. So at 2, she named me a gift given to me by God. To me, life was miserable. Poverty is all I knew, is all I saw around me every day. I had one meal every other day because it's what we could afford. We could not afford beans and potatoes. We had beans today and we had potatoes the next day. Tell me, as a mom, how do you tell your child to dream when you can't feed them for a night? How? Today, this morning, the kids in Zambia walked 3 to 4 miles to get water one way. When you go back, tell your teenagers and your little ones, can you get water 5 yards away from here? They'll probably say no. But that's what I did, and that's what the kids in Zambia did today. 3 miles one way, back twice a day. Tell me, when do you become a child? I had one pair of clothes, one for Monday to Saturday, and then the other for Sunday. Any teenager here, here's what I would like you. When you go back home, open that closet, look in and look at your mom and dad and say, Mom, thank you that you provide for me. To most kids in Zambia, don't have that opportunity. I never had a pair of shoes until when I was 16 years old. Never had one pair of shoes. Never seen a toy or anything that resembled a toy. Just like children in Zambia today. Never went to school. And going to school was $5. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. But my family could not afford $5. So are the kids in Zambia today. And at the age of 4, I began to realize my father was different. So poverty is all I knew. But then under our roof, I had the most abusive father you could imagine. So I had poverty on one side, but I had a mean dad. So I had no escape. There was no one point I could say, man, there's a little glimpse of hope somewhere. No. I had mom who loved me so much, but she got most of the beatings because she was advocating for us. Every time she told my dad, the kids haven't eaten for days, she got the beatings on my behalf. So sometimes as a little boy, you want to protect your mom, but also you know your needs in life are putting your mom in danger. How do you want to dream? How do you want to be tomorrow? As a little boy, this is what I had from my mom, from my dad. Every night, every morning. Peter, you never amount to anything. Peter, you're useless and worthless and nobody. Peter, I wish you were never born so I did not have to feed you. Tell me, why would you want to dream? What would you want to see tomorrow? For me, I knew misery from Monday to Monday. The beginning of the month to the end of the month. The beginning of the year to the end of the year. That's all I knew, misery. No one time that I could dream. So at age of 10, I knew my father would kill me. So I said, look, let him kill me or someone else. So I chose someone else. So I had never been 20 miles away from my village. And I went to the bus station and I asked the lady, hey, of all these buses, which one goes the farthest? She said, that one. I got on that one and I ran away. I'd never been 20 miles away from my village. I went 500 kilometers away and I ended up in Kampala. As soon as I got there, I had one opportunity to be a street kid. Street kid became my life. You might ask, was it easier? No. It was 100 times worse than my family. But it was different because the abusers were not my family. So I was fit to be called garbage, name it all, because they were not family. And that became my life. And as street kids, we learned how to survive. We always had to steal for food. We didn't steal money because most people didn't make $1 a day, so you stole food. But it was the easiest way to do it. So one day I saw a man, or we had a system. If you're wearing glasses, khakis, and shoes, that means you can afford food. So today, if you're wearing glasses, khakis, and shoes, watch out for your wallet. Just kidding. And so I saw this man, and I followed him. And as soon as he bought the food, I carried it, and wanted to take it, and said, put my food down. I put it down, and he followed by saying, what is your name? And that really rattled me. Because for 5 years, no human being had ever asked me what my name was. The tears aren't the tears that I had the most miserable. The tears are that your church, real life church, would want to know the kids in Zambia. That you'd risk your pastor, 2 of them, incoming and outgoing, 2 pastors, to go to Zambia to see the kids so they can know their names, see their faces. Meet their needs. There's no other way the gospel truly shows us than letting someone be known. That's what he did. He asked my name. But also that scared me because I wanted to run away, because for everyone who was kind, it followed with abuse. So even him saying, what's your name? That for me was a sign, run for your life. But he gave me food and left. He came the next week, he gave me food, he left. He never called me a thief. He never called me smelly. He never called me garbage. He just gave me food. And he fed me for 1.5 years. And one day he said, Peter, if you have an opportunity to go to school, would you go to school? And I'm giving you 2 things to choose from. Think about the kids in Zambia have never had one opportunity to choose anything in their lives. You have 1 pair of clothes. Is there anything else to choose? You've never had a pair of shoes. Do you have any shoes to choose from? You're lucky if you had beans and potatoes at the same time. Do you have time to choose? No. So he said, I have 2 things. You can go to school, or I can feed you every other week. To me, school didn't matter because I was told I was garbage anyway. School is for people who have family, have dreams, have hope. I have none of that. I don't need to go to school. So I said no. He came back next time. He said, hey, if you go to school, there'll be lunch, dinner, and breakfast. I was like, what time do we leave? Because he mentioned one basic need in life that I needed. And he took me into school. And I wondered too, because there were more than 3,000 kids on the streets of Kampala. But he chose one, and that one happened to be me. The same with your church. There are so many countries you could go to. But this week, this year, you chose to love the people, the small little village who've never seen white people, who've never seen an opportunity, to love on them, to say they matter, that they are somebody. That's what he did for me. And so I went to school, and I really did well. Did I do well because I wanted to be a teacher? No. Did I do well because I had opportunity? No. Did I do well because there was food? For sure. But I did well. For the first time, someone saw me as a human being. He saw potential that I didn't see in myself, but yet he saw the best in me, and he changed my life. So why am I foster dad? For that reason. Not only did he change me, but he changed my entire family. As he was taking me to school, I asked him, why me? Why me? And he said, I just want to be faithful. But I didn't understand what that meant. But now I do, meeting your pastor Nick and Mike. They want to be faithful by going to Africa tonight to love on the kids in Zambia. Because he was faithful, my entire family is doing well. Not only did I go to high school, I went to university in Uganda, I went to university in England, and that's how I came to the United States. I'm the oldest of 5. They've all graduated at university. Why? Because he set an example. if Peter can do it, my brother said, we can do it too. It's amazing when you do for one, how it changes the entire family. And I love World Vision too. When you sponsor one child, for benefit of the entire family. Because the water is for everyone. The hospital is for everyone. The school is for everyone. So through one, you get to help so many. Because he was faithful, my family got to know the Lord as their Lord and Savior. For my mother, it was more of, how can a stranger love my child as theirs? Those are the questions people are going to ask in Zambia. Why was a strange-looking human being in North Carolina love my little girl? So she's not getting married at 13, 12. Because you love her. Do you know what she's going to ask? Why do you do it? By you writing to them and they get to see your gospel, they begin to really want to know Christ more. Because he was faithful, I was able to learn how to forgive my dad. I went to Rwanda during the genocide, and on my first day, I saw 3,000 dead bodies. And I thought, how could people do this to others? But as I was pointing, but that's what I wanted to do to my father. I hated my father, that I wanted to do the same to him. But I realized that God did that for me. I didn't have to. But my foster family, they always say, Peter, remember, every time I wanted to give up, remember what Joseph said to his brothers. For what you meant for evil, God used it for good to save life. That's why I'm a foster dad. Not because I have resources, because he taught me how to love unconditionally, how to be patient, and how to love their parents even sometimes when we don't see that. So to me, Luke 12:48, that's why it's really important to me. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. I have been entrusted with much, haven't we? Of all people, I feel like the most wealthiest human being on the planet. That I can choose a meal? You have no idea what that means. And so that's why I love working for World Vision. Me and my family, we sponsor 14 kids. And I love one particular one because he's sponsored by my teenager, Anthony. And every time he gets a letter, he says, Dad, I just want to do better like him, you know? So you've got a kid in Africa really changing the life of my child. But how the cycle changes too. That with $39, he's truly giving dinner to the kids, and that's what you're about to do to the families in Zambia, to change their lives. And I love the World Vision's motto, how they're doing it. Before you'd go to the lobby and pick up a child you wanted, but this time they said, what if we could give one child who'd never been able to choose something to be the one to choose their sponsor? What if we gave them that dignity, the power in their hands, for that kid to walk in and be able to say, I will never choose a meal, I will never choose food, but I'm going to choose who I want to be my family. Watch this video.
Let me be filled with kindness and compassion for the one for whom you love and gave your son for humanity. Increase my love, so help me to love with open arms like you do. A love that erases all the lies and sees the truth. Oh, that when they look in my eyes, they won't see you. Even in just a smile, they would feel the Father's love.
I've watched this video, I don't know how many times, but I still gets me. Because I remember I'll be waiting every Monday for this man to show up. For you online, just know we have some members in Zambia that are listening to you because they've been praying. They know today is their day. and some of them are online listening. And we also have some people online from our church that you can take part in changing the life of a child. So here's how it's going to work. Pastor Nick and Pastor Mike are traveling to Africa today. So on Wednesday, they get to be in the tent, the party, to watch the kids choose each one of you. And their party is called Real Life Church. And they're going to be there to witness and be the one to kind of really watch it all happen. And then on Saturday, they get back. I hope they'll be able to preach. And on Sunday, you get to know who chose you. It's called Reveal Sunday. So on Sunday, you get to know why they chose you and who chose you with their picture that we are sending to Zambia today as well. So welcome you, Pastor, to come and share. Thank you.
I can't follow that. I'm not going to attempt to. But what I do know is that $39 a month can change a child's life and change an entire family and change an entire village. And you just saw it right in front of you. How could you not? Now, I want to be clear. You're not under any pressure to do this. Some of you may sponsor other kids in other places and other ministries. I get that. But I'm going to tell you what, me and my wife have already been a part of this. And it's incredible what our expectations are. And we're so excited to get the privilege to pour into someone else. Earlier, when the band was leading us in worship, we sang about our King chose us. Did you know you've been chosen by the King? Don't miss this. Now you get to choose, or a child will get to choose you if you choose to be a part of this. And halfway around the world, there's going to be a child that sees your picture, your family, and they're going to say, that's the one I'm choosing. And that becomes your child because they chose you. And just like you heard Peter say, there's something powerful when somebody gets the privilege to choose. When I first came here 30-something years ago, this church family blessed me because I had an opportunity to go to Africa, to play on a basketball team, and to share the good news of Jesus with Madagascar, Africa. And my church family, y'all jumped all over and said, Mike, you go. You know, one of the greatest privileges of being a pastor in this church is you have never denied me the opportunities that God's placed in front of me. You have blessed me so often and said, you go. We'll support that. We'll pray for that. You go and do what God has called you to do. You have blessed me so much. And for Nick and I, this will be a tremendous blessing to get to go and then come back next weekend. And we're going to tell you what we experienced. And we're going to get to say, you know what? I played with your child. I gave them a sticker. I kicked a soccer ball with them. I gave them a drawing pad, and this was a picture they drew. That's your child, and they chose you. Isn't that amazing? Why would you not take an opportunity? Peter, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to come back up here and explain the card to us, because I didn't do a good job of that last time. And these people know me well enough that I own my stuff, so I blew it. So I'm going to let you take advantage.
So it's really easy. So we are sending the pictures to Zambia tonight by 9 p.m. So they can have them by Monday when they arrive. So here's what we're going to do. You got this. It's a QR code. All you have to do is you get your phone, take that picture, fill in the information, and then once you're done, either you upload the picture with your family. For those online, yeah, you can do it from home too, in your favorite pajamas, you know. Be decent for the child, though. You know what I'm talking about. So the child can choose you. And then you bring it to us. Don't worry, if you have gray hair, we have cameras that won't see the gray hair. If you have pimples, we will take them off, everything. So then we will send those pictures to Zambia. So by the time they arrive, they are printed out for them to be able to do so. You know, some people say, well, what if I'm not chosen? Well, you will be chosen. Here's why. There's more than 1,000 kids in that village that are wanting to be sponsored. But if we can do 300, at least we put a dent, 30% of that. So you can choose to sponsor 20, whatever you can do, and they will choose you at different times. So if we could help at least 300 kids, would be wonderful. So Pastor Nick and Mike can truly have a privilege to fellowship and meet them and join with them. There's also a Facebook page. So for everyone whose pictures uploaded, automatically goes to a Facebook page for only your church. So it's called Real Life Church, and you're gonna see your picture there. And while they're in Zambia, they'll be commenting, sending you a little bits during the week to see what's happening and checking on you. But it's gonna be your kind of community while they're away. That Facebook will be the feed for you. So come, we take your picture. Again, I said, gray hair, we'll remove it. I promise. Thank you.
And make it like mine and Peter's. There you go. All right, so here's what we do. In just a moment, Nick is going to lead out into the lobby anybody that wants to do this. Again, you're not under pressure to do this. If you don't, you just stand right here and continue to worship because the band's going to lead us. But I told you this service is going to be a very different service, and this is how we're going to close it. Nick's back there at the back. If you're ready to take the steps and go, go. Now, just get up and go. Just get up and go. And go sponsor a kid for $39 a month. And for the rest of you, just stand and worship. Let the band lead, and you'll be dismissed.
Let's stand together.
God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of light. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to worship, so will I can see your heart in everything you made. Every burning star is a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises, so will I. So will I. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness tonight. But as you speak, a